The goal of this video is to create a two-stage rocket from scratch, and the method settled upon for this was a nested core burning approach. Now, before I get into the design, I'd like to address up front that there is a severe fundamental misunderstanding and flaw with this design that revolves around how core burning rockets actually work, and I'll address all this at the end of the video. As you can see here, I'm drawing out the first stage, or the booster, and as I've done in the past, there's a clay nozzle, a fuel section, and then another clay end plug. In this case, I decided to drill a core through all three of these. That way the fire can transmit from the end of the burning fuel right when it's at the top and go into the second stage. And here you can see me drawing the second stage. And the second stage is essentially a nested pipe. So I went with 1 1/4 inch for the first stage in diameter, and then the pipe for the second stage is 1 inch. That way you can slide the second stage right into the first stage, and then all you have to do at the end is add a fuse that connects the fuel from the first stage to the second stage. And as you can see, I outlined the first stage in blue and the second stage in red. Also, it's important to mention that there's an end cap on the top of the second stage. That way the second stage rests nicely on the first stage and can launch from there. This will do. Alright, so right now I went out and got a 6-inch long drill bit that's 5/16 of an inch. And the plan is to drill this through the entire booster portion. So starting from there, going all the way through there, so it's going to go like this. And then that will enable it to burn and then connect to a fuse piece that will ignite the mini rocket that will come out of here. Alright, so I want to show you guys the last second decision I made that I think is going to be a good play. As you can see in the first rocket that we made, like a little bit of the clay kind of receded from the very edge. As you can see right there, there's a little gap. And it got really bad on this pipe, which I don't think I showed it earlier. So what I did is I mixed up a quick batch of plaster of Paris and sand and water, mixed that together, and then just added it in right in there and filled in the gaps. And this looks like it'll work well. It filled in nicely. So I bought 4 of these springs, and they're going to be used as guides on the side of the rocket. That way it makes it easier to launch, and I'll show you in a little bit, but in order to use them, I'll need to cut off these little tabs. And there we go. Here's the first rocket with 4 fins and 2 springs for the launch. And as you can see, from the inside comes a mini rocket that will need to be fused up here in a second. And then the same idea with this one, but we have a slightly different size. This one is the 3/4 inch pipe. That one is an inch pipe. Okay, so mini rocket here needs to go into the big rocket. So if we have to get it into that hole there. So I might need to look down. Oh wow, there's no way to tell. Rocket launch. All right, lighting rocket. No. All right, quick recovery. Didn't really go anywhere. Yeah.
Wait,
dang.
How did it get? It went up and caught and fell back. Did you see that? It's look, it went out.
Yeah, it got out of the run.
So it went up.
All right, rocket light. We could launch the mini rocket at it. I'll hold the shield and behind the shield too. Oh, mini rocket. Where did mini rocket go? Dude, it got the big rocket out, but the mini rocket, we don't know what it did. Oh, it probably didn't light. Let's give it a second. Let it cool down. So after launching both rockets, we were puzzled because we weren't too sure what exactly went wrong. We thought it maybe had to do with the fuel or something, the strength of the fuel, the amount of fuel. But after we reviewed footage from the tripod from the first launch, everything made sense. Now watch again closely, paying attention to the first stage. Did you notice how the rocket accelerated up the launching shaft and then accelerated back down? We quickly realized that this was due to the fact that we drilled a hole through both clay ends, essentially making 2 nozzles, rendering the rocket useless. On top of this, the second stage lit almost immediately with very little delay, and this is due to the fact that a core-burning rocket essentially ignites the entire core at once. So the entire reason for the failure can be boiled down to the fundamental misunderstanding of how a core-burning rocket actually works. So in a core-burning rocket, the core is drilled a certain distance through the fuel, and then essentially, upon ignition, the entire core burns in the surface area outlined by the red pen, and you can think of it as an expanding cylinder as the rocket proceeds to burn. You can see why drilling the hole all the way through would make no sense and create thrust from 2 different sides. It's just a whole mess. Alright guys, and that's all for this video, and stay tuned for the upcoming video because we'll take a whole new approach and try to solve this problem.